All right, so today we are studying life science. So we're looking at how the fossil record provides evidence the changes have occurred in the number and types of species. So we're looking at how the fossils on Earth have indicated that things have changed from the past. So you had to come up with some reasons why it's important to study that. Some of the reasons why are that it gives us a history of Earth. If we find a bunch of oceanic fossils in this area, we can assume and predict that, well, that millions of years ago, this was an ocean bed and that there was water flowing around here. In Italy, they have found oceanic creatures and fossils at the top of mountains. And how is that possible? Well, at one point, that instead of being a mountain, it was a valley, and they had an ocean there. And over time, the oceanic plates collided, moved together, and pushed up and formed that mountain. So uplifting occurred. Today, you are completing activity 1A, the vocab. So if you go to the mastery grid, you'll select the vocab next to remote. And then there's also an ed puzzle that you need to complete the vocab with. There's a little quiz on there, or it asks questions about the video. So you'll watch that. I'm gonna go ahead and go over the other do nows for the week. Tomorrow, using one of our vocab words, why do some species over time not go extinct? Some species don't become extinct because they adapt, or they make adaptations to their life. When organisms adapt, they're able to change to the environment in order to survive. So if the environment was becoming very dry, camels that can store more water would live longer and they would be able to adapt. And the camels that did not, or organisms that could not hold their own water for long periods of time, would die off. On Wednesday, the do now, you're going to use the diagram above. What different types of environments were present in these layers? So looking at this, what does this tell us? What do you think the bottom layer once was? What do you think that bottom layer was at one point? If you're finding leaf from a hardwood tree, where would you find that? In a desert, in a forest, in a tropical region?
The forest.
Okay, I'm not hearing you still, but it would be, oh, maybe that's my fault. Yes, it would be like a forest area, okay? And then a fern, ferns would be found in like a tropical region. And then a shell would be a lake or ocean, and then same with a fish skeleton. So this environment had changed 2 or 3 different times over the course of its history. Then Thursday, a female rabbit had 5 offsprings in 1 litter. 2 of the 5 baby rabbits were able to survive into adulthood. Why are some animals more likely to survive to adulthood than other animals? So some animals survived because they had the correct adaptations, the correct features that let them survive. So maybe it was lighter color fur. Maybe we're talking about rabbits that live in a lot of snowy areas. So if a rabbit, if the offspring had dark colored fur in a snowy environment, like the Arctics, that rabbit would not have a very good chance to survive. So it's based off of the surrounding environment that would determine which organisms or which rabbits would have the better chance of survival, the ones that can live better in that situation, the ones that are faster, the ones that can avoid predators. Those would be the ones that would survive. Our Throwback Thursday question, number 1 would be where the the cooling of warmer materials. So number 1 is D. Number 2 is the movement of more dense material. Number 3 is the heating of cooler material. And number 4 is the movement of less dense material. And then Friday, okay, this is a picture of a fossil that is 65 million years old and a fish that is found around here or found around this time period. So how has the fish changed over those millions of years? What evidence could you say about the change? Well, looking at this fossil versus this one, a living fish, they're almost identical. Their mouths, you can't see it real well, but their mouths are a little bit different. This one is facing up more rather than down. So they're very similar. And so the environments probably haven't changed much for the Coral fish fossil over those millions of years. So that's why it's important that we study the fossil record. Do you have any questions or comments on anything? Maybe you could type them into the chat.